If you are planning to someday invest back home from abroad, you will have to put sentiments to the side, emotions to the side. You will have to be mainly streetwise and logical. It doesn't matter how blood is thicker than water, how much that person is your best friend, how that is my mother, that is my father. It doesn't matter. You will have to put sentiments to the side because the person at stake here, the person in danger is you. One thing I would like you to remember is this. As long as you have already stepped on that plane and flew across the Atlantic/Pacific Ocean and landed abroad, you are no longer a normal person to those back home. Now you are more of a cash cow and money tree to those back home. It doesn't matter how they loved you when you were back home and everything. As soon as you have crossed those oceans and entered abroad, you are more of a cash cow and a money making machine. So what I would suggest for you is this, because there are different ways one can invest back home, alright? You can choose to invest by building a home, by starting a business, or by opening a company. So there are various ways in which you can choose to invest back home. But when you finally do, or you feel like that moment has come, please, you have to make sure that at least once or twice a year, you'll be able to go back home and check on your projects. Because you can't just rely on videos. You can't just rely on pictures, on receipts. No, you can't just rely on that. You have to go back home at least once or twice a year to check on your project. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the more whomever you're working with sees that you are able to make it back home at any time, they will less likely want to dare you. They will less likely want to play with you. And even if they do play with you, they are going to have a limit. They are going to play with you in a way that they know it's not going to affect your projects that much, right? But if they know that for sure, you are not able to make it back home, you are going to be in trouble. Because you can't just be shelling huge amounts of money without being able to go back home. That is just ridiculous. You might as well just stay over here and just invest where you are. You can't just stay abroad and just relax and just be shelling out a whole bunch of money and you don't know what is going on. No. So you will have to go back home and visit constantly, at least once or twice a year. You will have to make that effort. Whenever you are to go back home, do not give a heads up, at least for the first 2 times. The first 2 times, do not give a heads up. Just land back home, surprise them. And when they ask you, how come you're here and everything, you didn't tell anyone, you'll be like, no, now, I just made up my mind last minute and I'm here, alright? And when you have done it like maybe once or twice now, they are also not stupid. They're going to start asking themselves questions. It's like, this person doesn't trust me. So it's for you not to be wise. The 3rd time now or 4th time until the project is over, now you can give them heads up. But do not give them too much time. You can tell them, I'll be home in the next 2 weeks. But you land a week ahead. And when they ask you, you'll be like, abroad now, it's not really stable like that. Sometimes I just had more time on my hand and I just wanted to rush back home and come and enjoy. That is why I came ahead of time. If you do give them a heads up, do not give them too much time to plan and do not give them the exact date of your journey.
Do not go and say, I'll be landing in Cameroon on the 24th of December.
Do not do that. For God's sake, this is 2023. Do not do that.
Do not go and tell somebody, I am leaving Canada on the 19th. I am going to be boarding Air Brussels, Air Canada.
No need for those details. If you give them a heads up, 2 weeks, come before time. Come 1 week ahead of time. If you decide not to give them a heads up, just land and just surprise them and just be like, it's a surprise and everything. You just made up your mind to just show up and you show up. Do not just go ahead and enter into too many details. Do not do that. That is very, very, very dangerous. Number 3, if you know that you are abroad, because it's not all of us that were fortunate to come to these countries with permanent residencies right away. There are some people, especially in Europe and the US, in those territories, there are some people that are over there and they don't have papers. And what they are using to survive on a daily basis is people's documents. They are using people's documents to work, or they are doing on that table. So if you know that you're one of those people and you find yourself making a lot of money, but the only thing is that you don't have papers, please do not disclose your status to people back home. If you feel like You already have enough money to be able to invest back home, but the only thing is that you will not be able to travel to invest on your project, to check on your project. Please do not disclose your status to those people. Do not disclose your status to anyone in your family, to any friend, to anybody. Keep it to yourself. Do not disclose it to them. Even if they call you and tell you, what is happening now? You're not coming back home and everything. Just tell them that I am busy. Find something and tell them while working on those things, all right? Let me give you an example. Some people, too talkative. Since I came here, I don't have documents now. I'm gonna have my documents in the next 15 years. If there is one thing I have noticed with Black people and African people in general, as soon as you have opened your mouth and say you don't know when you'll be coming back home, and at the same time you're the one sending them huge sums of money, 20 million for this project, 10 million for that project, 3 million for that project, Black people have a way of just relaxing, of getting too comfortable when they feel like they have enough time. That is when you will see somebody saying, anyway, he's not going to be here now until the next 10 years. So if I chop some of this money, if I eat some of this money, I'll be able to reimburse. But you never know tomorrow. The person might even have a good career right now. Maybe they need the money for something happened, they need the money. You send money for something to be installed, they don't install it, they end up using the money for themselves, thinking that you'll be able to reimburse. But just because your mouth was too watery, you gave them that comfort to be able to touch that money to do whatever they want to do, while not being sure if they'll be able to reimburse you. Or some people, when they know that as long as they know you are not around, they're going to be like, okay, this person is not around, so let me just use the money and do whatever I want to do. Because as we all know, there's a reason why they say money is the root to all evil. No matter how innocent, no matter how good of a person you are, when you hold a huge amount of money in your hands, it takes a lot to control yourself. Especially if you know that the person is not around, or the person is not going to be around for a very long time. It is very hard. Especially when you have things going on for yourself. That is when you're going to be hearing one devil here telling you, use the money now. What is there? What is it going to do to you? You hear the other one, the other angel say, don't use the money and everything. Remember your friendship. You remember the amount of years you have known each other. This is your blood. This is your dad. You think that me, I'll be holding 30 million in my hand. You have told me that you'll not be home in the next 18 years. You think I'm not going to go through temptation? I'm going to go through temptation. There's going to be some time that my wife is going to come to me and be like, honey, you're not a man. I asked you for this latest human hair. I asked you for this car. I asked you for this. And I'll have to buy it for her. Because I'm going to look at 30 million. I'm going to be like, okay, it's not even going to be in the next 10 years. So if I buy her that car, it's not going to cost so much. Let me just take 3 million, 5 million, buy her that car. And with time, I'm going to reimburse the money, which most times doesn't happen. Or which sometimes you might get your papers ahead of time. You end up landing back home, and whatever you thought that person was working on has not even started or is not even halfway gone, while you in your mind you were even thinking that the project is done. So that's why I say, please do not disclose your status to people back home. If you don't yet have your legit documents, all right, do not disclose your status. And also, if you feel like you are not really sure of your status, please do not even start investing back home, because it's very risky. Do not even start investing back home unless you know for sure you will get your papers in the next 3 years, 2 years. But when it's already reaching 5 years, 18 years, 15 years, please do not even bother. Just keep on stacking up your money and invest where you are, or wait until you have those papers, then start investing. But please do not disclose your status. If you know that maybe you have 5 years below and you know for sure you're going to get your papers, do not disclose your status. Always find something to say, find something to tell them until you are able to go back home for visits to check on your project. And another thing is this: evolve as the person working on your project is evolving. What I mean by that is this: sometimes you will have a very loyal person that you have been dealing with even for the past 20 years. You know them, you know they are loyal, you know they are just, you know they are pure. But sometimes, over the years, somebody might change through marriage. You might have a very loyal friend, but when they get married and because of love, they get carried away because they have a mischievous partner, they have a devious partner. They will get carried away because, as we all know, the more you have been around someone, the more it's easier for you to get carried away. So as they are evolving, you evolve too. And what I mean by that is this: if you notice that somebody that has been loyal for a certain amount of years, or somebody that you knew for sure you could bank on, all of a sudden changes. You notice some changes. You notice that now when you send money, tricks are played. You notice a few games here and there. Based on your friendship and on how close you guys have been to each other, sit them down, talk to them and ask them what is going on. If they are not so far gone, all right, they will confess to you. They will tell you, bro or sis, ever since I got married to my wife, every day demands. So sometimes when you send money like this, I'm always pressured to take some and use. Sometimes he's going to explain it to you, all right? Then if he explains it to you and you're okay, then you can tell them how you guys can go ahead and be dealing with those things now. Then now, both of you guys can come up with a plan or how to handle that partner from now on. Maybe you have to be more communicative, all right, to be able to handle that partner. Or if you notice that they are just being deliberately mischievous, they don't want to tell you, but you know something is wrong, your intuition is telling you something is wrong, you will definitely notice from their body language. And when I say talking to them, meeting one-on-one with them, I mean meeting one-on-one with them. Leave abroad, go back home, meet one-on-one with them, because in their body language, you'll be able to tell a lot of things. You'll be able to tell if they are being mischievous, or you'll be able to tell what is going on, right? So meet up with them. If you are okay, whatever is going on, and you still feel like you still want to rely on them, you can still trust them, then you can keep working with them. But if you feel like, okay, right now you feel in danger, you can no longer rely on them, then you can now discharge them. But as you are discharging them, make sure that if you owe them any money, pay them their money. Be just, all right? Pay them their money, be fair. Give them even a bonus for all the years that they have served you. Then you discharge them and you move with someone else. And no need to even give them information on whatever you're going to do next and all that stuff. No need for that. Discharge them in a good way and move on. Because the reason why I'm saying discharge them in a good way is because you don't want to be attacked spiritually or even physically. Because some people, if you don't leave them in a good way, you are going to be a trouble, or they are going to be a thorn in your flesh for the rest of your life. So you're going to have to be very, very careful concerning that. Just as also, you might have a parent, and mainly this happens with women. You might have a mom that you have been relying on some things for years. Maybe she was a widow. You have been relying on her for some things for years, and all of a sudden a man walks into her life and the man just derails everything that she does. It is another way those things can happen. So you will need to be very, very careful how you do handle those things. And like I said, do not use emotions and sentiments. When you feel that something is wrong, take away the project and work on finding somebody else or a company that can help you and move on. And another thing is this: when it comes to like building of houses and all that stuff, we now have people in Africa, we have companies that are able to do that for you, because over the years they have noticed that a lot of people have been frauded by family, friends and all that stuff. So they have created companies that can handle those things for you. And my advice to you concerning those companies is this: don't just go ahead and do things naively because somebody connected you to a company, or because you saw them online, you feel like they are reliable. No. Whenever you come in contact with those companies, sit down with them. Tell them, I am willing to work with you guys. This is whatever project I have at hand, but this is what I will need to do for myself in order for me to feel secure, because I am presently not around, and this is what I want to do to feel secure. And then when they ask you what they want, make sure that they let you be able to have a lawyer present whenever you are to sign documents or come to agreements. Make sure that you're allowed to take pictures and videos and records. Make sure that you're able to have a copy of their government IDs, their whole names, so that you'll be able to find them in case whatever they promise to do for you isn't done, so that you'll be able to sue them. Don't just go and say, I have the money, they were looking nice, they were looking rich. Do not rely on appearances, because a lot of people that look good out there, well-tailored costumes, perfume, and they stand in front of you and you think they are all that. No. There are a lot of dangerous people out there. Just as there are a lot of legitimate companies out there, that is how there are a lot of fraudulent companies out there too. So you're going to have to be very, very careful. Make sure that you do all of the things that I listed before you start any project with anyone. Like I said, get a lawyer. to be present whenever you have to sign any documents, because that lawyer can detect what is fraudulent and what is not fraudulent. That lawyer can be there for you to check on some things when you're not able to be there. All right, make sure you can take pictures, records, videos, so that even if you're not around, your lawyer can do that for you. And make sure that you have a copy of their government ID, their whole name, age, height, and everything. All right, so you'll be able to find them or sue them at the end in case things don't go as planned. And lastly, always remember how hard you work for your money. Do not take it for granted. Do not only rely on whatever someone says from their mouth. Oh, this is my best friend from 10 years ago. This is my family friend. Blood is thicker than water. Forget about all those things. When it comes to money, money is not a joke. So when you know how hard you get to work for your money, do not just rely on WhatsApp status, voice notes, receipts, and all that stuff. Do not just rely on those things, because there are a lot of lawyers back home now that their side hustle is to falsify things for people and make it look legit. So you can have somebody buy a land for you, present a document to you, even have you sign them, you thinking that it's legit when it's actually not legit, and have the original documents in their names. That's why I said, if you are to buy a land, go back home. When the land is ready, go back home and do it yourself. Carry a lawyer along with you. Do everything the right way. Don't just send somebody to buy your land because you are saying, it's my mom, it's my dad, I can trust them. No. Even though some of us come from good families, please, you still cannot take that risk. Even I myself, there are moments that my parents have given me money for a certain purpose. And even I, as a child, as I've been walking the street, I'll experience different devils and different angels. This angel will be telling me, don't eat this money, remember it's for a purpose. The devil will be telling me, eat it, what is going to happen. And at the end of the day, depending on my urge, I'll wait and I'll do whatever I want to do and face the consequences later on. So do not just rely on WhatsApp stories, WhatsApp conversations, WhatsApp pictures and videos. Do not just rely on that. That is not enough. Like I said, make sure you go back home at least twice a year. Go back home and check on your projects. Go back home and check on them. Don't rely on people. Sometimes you might be thinking, oh, I'm building something back home. By the time I go back home, it's going to be completed. You get back home, even it's halfway. Or they have not even started it. Or the project even is still at land buying. They have not even done anything yet. Or sometimes you go back home, you think your house belongs to you. When you get there, you get to find out that house belongs to your mom or your dad or your sibling. And they have already even moved their family there. They have gotten married already. They have moved in. They have given birth to all their kids in their home. And you come back home now, you be like, okay, leave my house up, like the house is on your name, and you now find yourself homeless. Maybe you were done living in America now. It was a time now to go back home and relax. And you get to find out that you're not the owner of the land, you're not the owner even of the house, and you end up getting thrown out, having nowhere to go. And it's even going to be so shameful for you to explain it to anybody, because where would you want to even start? Because for some people, for them, as long as you have been abroad, they expect you to be literate. So where would you even start to go and explain to somebody that I was just sending money and I was thinking that they were building? I saw videos, I saw pictures, for God's sake. This is 2023. There are certain mistakes you should no longer be found doing. Even if you are to have somebody do those things for you, and that most times you are not going to be around, have a trusted lawyer. Introduce them at the beginning, making known to your trusted person that you have assigned this lawyer to follow them around, to ask them questions on everything they do. And make sure that your lawyer, you pay them well, so that they will not go around and betray you. Be good and just in whatever you do with them, all right? And stay close, be close to them, and build a friendship with them. Like I said, this is 2023, and there are certain mistakes you shouldn't be found doing. So that is what I had to share with you today, all right? That is some of the tricks that I could put together for you to be able to use to achieve whatever goals you have for yourself, all right? Do not be naive and negligent. You work too hard for your money, so you need to always be safe. You need to be smart, street smart. Forget about emotions and forget about sentiments. That is what I had to share with you. If you have already built a home back home, if you are presently working on a project, or you are presently working on whatever you're working on, let me know how you're handling things and how things are going for you. And if there are certain things that I am missing, please update me, because I also need to be updated. because back home there, the more time is passing by, the more they are also evolving. So we got to be smart. So if there's something new that is trending that they are doing that you can also educate me on, please drop it down below, because you never know, it might help me tomorrow, right? We are all here to learn, and not one person can know everything, all right? So I have shared my own tricks. So please, if you have your own tricks, just share with me down below so that I can learn from you. And if you like what this video has been all about, don't forget to like, subscribe, share my videos, and engage down below. All right, guys, bye. Love you all.